morning, Rahul. How are you doing?
It's a fine, man. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's good. You were so busy enjoying Happy New Year Eve.
No. Actually, I just
I'm joking. I'm teasing you.
no. Actually, I'm taking another session, so
Oh yeah.
I'm just forgot to notice the time.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that happens sometime. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
teasing you. I was
Thank you.
joking.
Actually, there is serious discussion is going on happening with one issue with one of our consultant who is experiencing some real time. I mean to say that he is doing some implementation project, so he got some issues. So I'm just busy in looking those issues, so I could not notice the time. So until I get a call from my support team.
That's okay. Not a big deal.
Thank you. One second.
We still have 4 hours left in New Year.
Yeah.
We still are 18.
I just yes. In India, we already celebrated the Happy New Year over here.
You did? Yeah, I know. That's what I was
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hope we will be certified in this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just let me start. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, Mahesh. Rajesh here.
Rajesh, good morning. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
You guys
good
are
evening,
okay
Prem
to?
here.
Yeah, you guys are okay to have the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are all waiting for you.
No. I'm just listening only one voice, so I'm just keeping a silence so that everybody is in a mood of enjoying the New Year. Okay, so.
No. We are all there waiting for you. Let's go.
Oh, thank you.
Mahesh, I have to be very true and truthful to you that I am waiting for the party. This is Unni. Okay, we are just waiting for you, though. Wanted to have the class, then go for the party.
Oh, okay. Let me have a short class, okay? I'll not disturb you for a long time. We'll have a very short class, okay? So,
Happy New Year to everyone. Is 2019 year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. I wish you the same to all of you. Very happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm sharing my desktop to all of you. So 1 second. I promised that I supposed to give some documentation because there is issue in my portal, so I could not take up that attachments over there. But today, end of the day, the issue is going to be resolved. Hopefully by US time, by evening 5 p.m., you will get all the documents in the block. Okay, so you can download and you can start reading. There is some issue in my laptop. I could not take up the attachments. Okay. Yeah. So last class we have discussed about the concept.
Mahesh, one quick question actually.
Yeah.
I missed the last Friday's class actually. Is there any way to catch up that one?
Definitely. So you okay? So you have missed out the class. So I'll send a separate link that regarding that. Have you gone through the video?
Yeah, I went through the video actually.
Okay. Do you have any doubts in that, or do you want summarization about the class?
Yeah, summarization about the class actually.
Okay, definitely. I'll take up that. I'll talk to my support team and let me have a short call about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, when the system has started doing the conversion, the very important thing is, okay, so now from the, okay, so the points are we are going to be discussing now the complete architecture of SAP Finance, that is SAP FICO, that we can call it as the SAP FICO in SAP ECC. Now we are calling it as the SAP S4HANA Finance. We call it as the S4HANA Finance. Don't call it as a simple finance. Now we are, okay, we are very far away from the simple finance. Simple finance is a concept where we have to learn from the 1503. As I discussed with you, okay, 1503 is the simple finance. And from 1511, we are started with, from 1511, we are started with SAP S4HANA Finance. Very, very important. I'll tell you the difference. 1503 Simple Finance is an add-on. It is not an application. It is an add-on on the top of your ECC application. So it is an add-on where the simplification has started from the 1503 as an add-on. Now in 1511, when you come to the 1511, now there is no simple finance. They are completely removed. It means we have come over from the simple finance and we are supposed to call it as a SAP S4HANA. From 1511, we call it as SAP S4HANA. So SAP S4HANA is a platform of application. It is a platform of application. It is not an add-on. Now in 1605, very, very important. This is very, very important. 1605 is a release only specifically for SAP S4HANA Finance. Very, very important. 1605. It is SAP S4HANA Finance. Very, very important. If any customer, if they want to go only with SAP S4HANA Finance, then they can take a license of SCC 1605. Very, very important. 1605 is the SAP S4HANA Finance. And again, they laterally, they have released about 1610. The 1610 is called as the SAP S4HANA Enterprise Management. So simple finance is the concept. We have overcome it. Means now we should not call it as a simple finance. Now it should be called as a SAP S4HANA Finance. Very, very important, this concept. So I just made it very clear to all of you. Don't call it as a simple finance. Okay. Now, when I come to the architect level, when you come to the architect level, earlier in SAP FICO, SAP FI is called as a finance and CO is called as a controlling. Now, there is no concept of differentiating between the finance and the controlling. Now, the finance and the controlling has been brought down into one concept that is going to be called as a within one universal general entry table. Earlier, the architecture was very complicated. Complicated in the sense is nothing but we have a different sets of tables with the finance and we have a different sets of tables with the controlling. So we used to have different concepts. We used to have the reconciliation process between the FI and the controlling. And in the FI also, we have the GL as the central tenant of total accounting system. So let me bring some differentiation between the FICO and SAP S4HANA Finance. So when you come to the SAP FI, this is concept called as the SAP FI in SAP ECC. We are calling it as the SAP ECC. When you come to the finance module, we have the central component. We have the central component, which is the central tenant of total accounting system. We call it as a central tenant of total accounting system. That is called as the general ledger. That is called as a GL. GL is the central tenant of total accounting system, where at the month end and at the year end closing activities are completed, we are going to extract the financial statement from the GL. So if I want to extract the financial statement, if I want to complete all my month end closing activities, if I want to complete my half yearly closing activities, if I complete my year end closing activity, so all the extractions means all the closings are going to be happened at the GL level. Okay, so GL we are going to be calling it as the central tenant of total accounting system. So earlier we have the concept called as accounts payable. That is called as accounts payable is nothing but a sundry creditors, where the reconciliation process is going to be happen between the vendor to the GL. And we have the concept called as accounts receivable. And we have the concept called as asset accounting. And we have the controlling. We have the another one which is going to be called as a controlling. There is a concept called as a reconciliation. There is a concept called as a reconciliation between the accounts payable to the GL, accounts receivable to the GL, asset accounting with the GL, and the controlling with the GL. This is concept we are going to be calling it as a reconciliation process. What do you mean by reconciliation? For example, if I take a bank reconciliation, I have a bank account in one of my bank. Okay, see, for example, if I take a Bank of America, some other company, some other bank. So if I want to see my statement at the month end or something like at the day end, I see what are the total debits and the credits in my one statement. There is a complete reconciliation is there. What are the outgoing checks? What are the incoming checks? What are the transactions have been made today? Okay, what are the check deposits have been made today? So complete reconciliation statement at the day end, I'll get it. If I see the same way, there is a reconciliation process is there between the subledgers. So we call them as the subledgers. Accounts payable is a subledger, account receivable is a subledger, controlling is a separate module, and the asset accounting is the subledger. We call it as the subledgers and the modules. So all the subledgers and the modules are getting reconciled to my general ledger. Why? Because I would like to see all the documents at the end of the day, or something like the transactions you are posting for the day-to-day transactions. I would like to see all the transactions are getting reconciled to the general ledger. Why? Because if I don't get any kind of transactions in the general ledger, I cannot prepare my P&L account and balance sheet. So there is a diagram which is very, very important for us. So this is the diagram. I just want to make it very clear before and after actually. So I'll start it with the simple finance. I'll start it from the 1503, then I'll enter into the 1809. So if you see the classic finance, yes, we are going to have the P&L account and we are going to have the balance sheet at the end of the year. So for the closing of the year, that is the closing of my balance sheet and the P&L account for 2018 or 2017, whatever may be. So as I told you that GL is going to be the central tenant of total accounting system. As I can see that controlling, COPA, like business warehouse, asset accounting, and the material ledger, which we are going to be calling, which we are going to call them as subcomponents. We call them as a subcomponents, and the main component is called as a general ledger. I don't have any kind of transaction because in the general ledger, we are only posting some expenses related transactions only. Some expenses related transactions like daily labor charges, like travel expenses, like meals expenses, some repair expenses, only those kind of transactions we are entering into the general ledger. But what happened related to some transaction related to the procurement? See, for example, I'll talk you something about the procurement process now. Yeah. So I'll talk something about the procurement process now. Now, when I explain the same diagram, I'm just looking into the same diagram now. Okay. Now, when I come to the material management module, which is called as the MM, material management module. So what is the cycle here? Purchase requisitions. So we are going to raise the purchase requisitions. Okay. With the reference of the purchase requisitions, what we are going to do, we are going to create the purchase orders. Purchase orders. With the reference of the purchase orders, what we are going to do, we are going to do the goods receipt. Okay, we are going to have the goods. Okay, that is the raw material we are going to be receiving. Raw material we are receiving from the vendor against the purchase order. Goods receipt. So after you receive the goods receipt, what is the final one? We are okay. The vendor is going to raise an invoice to us where we have to make the payment to the vendor. This is going to be called as the invoice receipt. Invoice receipt. So this is the flow. I just explaining the concept. So this is the flow. When I'm talking from the material management module, when I'm talking from the way we are going to have some procurement of the raw material from the vendor, this is what exactly the flow. First, we'll have the purchase requisitions. The purchase requisitions is completely an MM transaction. So there will be no impact on the finance side. So it is a complete MM related transaction. No financial accounting entry is going to be triggered at the time of purchase requisition. So there is no integration is going to be happened with my general ledger. And once they come to the purchase orders, this is also purely an MM related transaction, which is called as a MM related because no FI accounting is getting impacted. No GL is getting impacted with the purchase orders. Nothing. So once you have raised the purchase order, you are going to get the goods receipt. We call it as a MIGO. In the FI, we are going to be calling it as a material document. What do you mean by material document? Material document is nothing but a document which has created by the MM people once the raw material has been received against the purchase order. Raw material has been received against the purchase order. So when I call it as a goods receipt, there are two transactions are good. There are two documents are getting generated. One is a material document, which we call it as the MM side, and there is a one more document called as the accounting document from the FI side. Very, very important. One is the material document. Material document from the MM side. So it doesn't speaks about the FI transaction. It will only speaks about the quantity of the raw material received against the purchase order. Next, parallelly, there will be one FI document is getting generated. Why? Because you have received the raw material. So what is the cost of the raw material? So that is what exactly we are going to be expecting. Next, once you have completed the goods receipt, the final one is going to be called as invoice receipt. What is the invoice receipt? Invoice is nothing but completely we are going to be calling it as FI transaction. The invoice which we have received against the goods which you have received from the vendor. Now we are, this is the open item. This is what exactly the amount of the payment. That is, this is what exactly the outstanding amount which we have to make the payment to the vendor. So this is all the transactions are going to be happened in the MM module, not in FI. Now, when I come to the FI, when I see this integration part with my FI, just I'm coming to the FI. Now this is the FI module. This is the FI module. So we have general ledger. We have the general ledger. And there is the one sub-ledger accounting, which we are going to be calling it as accounts payable. AP, that we are calling it as the accounts payable. Very, very important concept we are discussing now. Okay. Accounts payable. Forget about these two transactions. I'm not bothered about these two transactions, purchase requisitions and the purchase quotations. I'm not bothered about this. Okay, so forget about these two transactions because it is not impacting to my financial document. It is not impacting to my general ledger. So my accounts are getting generated from the goods receipt, from the transaction from the goods receipt. Now what happened? FI document is getting generated. That is at the time of goods receipt. FI transaction. When I call it as FI transactions, there is a debit and there is a credit. There is a debit and there is a credit. So what is the accounting document? When I receive the raw material from the vendor, so your inventory is getting debited. I'm writing here. Your inventory of raw material account. It is a GL account. It's getting debited, and there is an offset account called as the GR/IR clearing account. This is offsetting account. Clearing account is getting credited. This is the accounting transaction at the time of goods receipt. At the time of goods receipt. Now when I see these two accounts are GL accounts. No vendor, no customer, no assets. These two GL accounts are called as a GL account. So inventory of raw material account and GR/IR clearing account. So what is happening? There is the integration is there. There is the integration is there between the MM to the FI. There is the integration is there between the MM module to the FI. So there is the automatic accounting transaction, means there is the automatic reconciliation is going to be happened whenever the FI transactions are getting posted in MM to the general ledger. So with the help of automatic posting, I can see this accounting entry is getting triggered to my GL. I can, if I go and see the GL balance, I can see this inventory account is getting debited and my GR/IR clearing account is getting created in the GL. Automatically it is going to be happen. Okay, so there is no impact in the accounts payable, because accounts payable is completely talking about the vendor, not about the GL. Accounts payable is completely talking about the payable to the vendor. So what do you mean by payable to the vendor? So if it is a payable to vendor means I had to make some payment. I had to make some payment to the vendor. Let us assume that there is a vendor. Okay, Mr. John is a vendor. Okay, I had to make a $10,000 USD. Okay, the $10,000 USD as a payment. He has supplied the material to me. So what is the total worth of the material he has supplied? So what is the total outstanding amount which I need to make the payment to the vendor? So it is the 10,000. Where I can see this amount? In where? Whether I could see this amount in the GL or whether I need to see the amount in the accounts payable. That open item, that outstanding amount, you had to get the information from the accounts payable, not from the GL. So now, when you see this goods receipt is only the transaction which is talking that you have received the raw material. So nowhere the vendor is coming in the picture. Nowhere the vendor is coming in the picture. Only the GL account is getting debited and the GL account is getting created. Which GL account is getting debited? Inventory of raw material account is getting debited and the GRIR clearing account is getting created. So these transactions will not have any impact in the accounts payable. So directly, this transaction is having an impact on general ledger, not in accounts payable. Very, very important. So accounts payable, we are going to be calling it as a sub ledger. We are going to be calling it as a sub ledger. So I can see this accounting transaction is having impact on general ledger. Okay, this is fine. Because I am having a reconciliation with the help of integration, I am able to see that there is the automatic posting of this accounting entries getting to the GL. Now, yes, you have received the raw material. Very good. You have verified the receipt. You have done the verification of the goods receipt. You have done, yes, how much raw material I have ordered in the purchase order, how much raw material I have received. You have done the verification. After you complete the verification, now what the vendor is going to do, he is going to send one invoice to you. Yay, hey, Mr. Rahul. Okay, so and so raw material has been supplied to you. Okay, this is the invoice. Okay, so when I'm receiving the invoice, what is happening here? When I'm receiving the invoice, whatever the verification account I'm using, the GRIR clearing account, it is offsetting account. Earlier it was debited. Earlier it was created. Now I have to nullify this amount. So what happening? The GRIR clearing account will become the debit. Now it has to nullify. Okay. Now who has to get credited? My vendor, Mr. John, JOHN. John account. This is not a GL account. This is the vendor account. John account will become the credit. Now see here. This is completely talking about two accounts. One is the GL account. Another one is the vendor account. One is the GL account. Another one is the vendor account. Earlier, when you see the goods receipt, if I open that accounting document, both are going to be the GL accounts. No vendor account is there in this. Inventory of raw material account is the GL account and the GRIR clearing account is the GL account. But when I see the invoice receipt, there are two accounts are there. One is the GL account. One is the GL account. Then the GL account is directly having the impact. There is a GL account is directly having the reconciliation to my general ledger, and there is one more account which is called as the John account. John is nothing but a vendor. Okay, John is a vendor. So this account is going to be having the reconciliation to my accounts payable, not to my general ledger. So if I go and see the vendor account, how much amount needs to be paid, what is the total outstanding amount for John, I need to go into the accounts payable and I need to see the balances here, not in the GL accounting. So what is happening? John is a vendor, not a GL. So what is happening? This account will have an impact on my direct impact on my accounts payable. Accounts payable, very, very important. Now here the problem is coming to me. What is the problem? See, you are telling that John is nothing but a vendor account. It is not a GL account. So it is directly impacting to the subledger called as the accounts payable, where the GL account is impacting to my general ledger accounting. But when I see the John is a vendor account, so total outstanding amount is 1,000, that is 10,000. 10,000 USD dollars I need to make the payment if I go to that. But Mr. Rahul, there is one problem is there. Okay, But how do I see? Vendor account is the transactions you are making related to the procurement of the raw material, but how it is going to be having the impact between the accounts payable to the general ledger. This is the process you're talking from the integration point of view. is getting integrated with your FI. is getting integrated with your FI. That is very good. But at the month end or something like at the year end closings, I need to have the balances should be reflected in my general ledger. Very, very important. You're showing this vendor balance only in the accounts payable, not in the general ledger. But do you have any reconciliation between the accounts payable to the general ledger? Yes, there is a reconciliation is there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to construct a bridge between the general ledger and the GL. This bridge connecting is called as a reconciliation. This bridge connecting is called as a reconciliation. Very, very important. So in our SAP S/4HANA also, so the architecture of accounts payable and the general ledger accounting, the reconciliation remains as it is only. Very, very important. So there is no means SAP has not removed the reconciliation between the subledger and the GL accounting. So where you see the architecture of your classic and where you see the architecture of SAP S/4HANA Finance between the AR and AP reconciliation to the general ledger remains same. There is no change in the process in SAP S/4HANA Finance. It's going to work as it is only. So there is a reconciliation there between the subledger, between the accounts payable and account receivable to the general ledger accounting. Is it clear to all of you? Any doubts here, please?
It's good.
Okay, so your architecture is same. There is no change in the architecture level. So there is no change in the architecture level between the subledger and the main ledger. What are the two subledgers? The accounts receivable and accounts payable. These are the two subledgers. One is related to the customer, another one is related to the vendor. So there is a reconciliation between the GL and the subledger. There is no issue here. Up to till here, there is no issue. The same architecture I'm following between the classic and between the GL. But now there is one more concept called as asset accounting. I'll talk something about the asset accounting now. AA is nothing but asset accounting. That is the fixed assets. We call them as the fixed assets. Actually, fixed asset, we are having a different sets of table. Okay, right. Let me go back. Yeah. So I'll start it from the starting. So it will be very easy for you to understand. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is the complete architecture. We are going to be calling it as a universal journal entry table. From today onwards, we have only one table for all the actuals. From today onwards, we have only one table for all the actuals. I'm not talking about the planned. There are two types of data. One is the actual data, second one is the planned data. I'm not talking about the planning data. I'm talking only the actuals. So that portion, we are going to be calling it as the AC DOCA table. That particular table we call it as the AC DOCA table. When I go into the general ledgers, we have different sets of tables. When I go into the profitability analysis, we have a different sets of tables. When I go into the controlling, we have a different sets of tables. In asset accounting, we have different sets of tables. In the material ledger, we have different sets of tables. Like hundreds of tables, we are going to be having the reconciliations. Now, after you convert your system to the SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA, as I discussed in the last class, now all the tables, all the aggregates and the index tables have been completely removed. Now completely, they have been removed. And we have brought only one table into the picture. That table name, we are going to be calling it as the AC DOCA table. That is called as a universal journal entry table. You can see all the general ledger fields You can see all the controlling fields, that is the COPA fields. You can see all the asset accounting fields. You can see all the material ledger fields in one table from today onwards. That concept we are going to be calling it as the AC DOCA table. Very, 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 very important. So this table name is called as Universal Journal Entry Table. That is called as Accounting Actual Documents. Yes, the architecture of your ECC to SAP S/4HANA Finance has been completely changed from today onwards. Earlier, we are discussing about the different concepts of aggregate tables and induction tables between the ECC to SAP S/4HANA. Now, all these index and the aggregate tables have been completely removed off. So, I just talk about one table now. Okay, I just talk about one table now. Yeah. Let me talk about this and then I'll explain you the concept. Okay. So we have only one table. That table name is called as the ACDOCA table. On the top of it, we have the header table called as the BKPF. BKPF is the only one header table. Earlier, we have a separate header table for the GL. Earlier, we have a separate header table for the controlling. Earlier, we have a separate header table for the asset accounting. Earlier, we have a separate header table for the material ledger. Now, all these header tables have been removed and they have been replaced with only one header table from today onwards. We have only one header table. That header table, we are going to be calling it as a BKPF table. BKPF is the header table and we have only one line item level table. That line item level table, we are going to be calling it as the AC DOCA table. Very, very important. Yes, BSEG is also there. BSEG is also there. Why it is there, I'll explain the coming classes. Don't worry about that. Okay. So we have only one line item level table. That line item level table called as the AC DOCA table and with one header table called as the BKPF table. Now, when I come here, the new journal entry consists of the header table BKPF and the representative line item level table called as the AC DOCA table. Okay. Now, there are some rare cases where entries in AC DOCA table written without a document header. My dear friends, this is a certification question. This is a certification question. Whoever appearing for the professional level and the associate level, this is the 100% certification question. This point is the 100% certification question. Without this question, there is no certification, if I feel. Okay. Now, what it is telling, in some rare cases, normally, whenever I am posting any accounting documents, whenever I'm posting any accounting document, definitely that accounting document will have the impact in my AC DOCA table. But there are some rare cases are there where the accounting entries will not be affecting to the DOCA table without the document header. Okay, I'll tell you what is the difference here. Every document, if you see the every document is divided into two parts. Every document is divided into two parts. Okay, one is the header. This is the document header. And this is the document line item. Yeah. Okay. For example, I'm posting some accounting entry. Travel expenses are getting debited and my cash account is getting credited. Cash account is getting credited. This is the financial transaction. One account I'm debiting, one account I'm crediting. So when this particular transaction has got posted in my SAP, what is happening? A document is getting created. This is a document. A document is getting created in my SAP. A document number will be created. If I open this document, this document contains two fields. That is, the document is divided into two parts. One is the header information and the second one is the line item level information. Like this, earlier, we have a GL with line item and header. GL line item and header is nothing but, for GL, the header table is called as the BKPF table. BKPF is the header table, and we have the line item level table called as BSIC. BSIC, we call it as a BSIC. So these are the two tables. For B, I'm talking only for the GL. BKPF is the header table and BSIC is the line item level table. Okay, next one. When I come to the controlling cost accounting, CO, we call it as a CO. We have the header table for CO that is going to be called as COBK. COBK is the header table and COEP is the line item table. This is only for talking from the CO, that is from the controlling. So for GL, we have a separate header table. For controlling, we have a separate header table. Now, when you come to the another concept, which is going to be called as asset accounting. When any transactions related to the assets we are posted, then there are two tables are there. One is going to be called as ANEK. ANEK is the header table, very, very important. And we have different line item level tables. For example, I'm taking one table called as ANEP. Example. ANEP is the line item level table. Means, if you see this example, for example, I'm taking, if you see this example, I have posted three documents. One is the GL document, I have posted the controlling document, and I have posted the asset accounting document. If I open the GL, document, okay, header table is going to be stored in the BKPF and the line item details are going to be stored in the BSIC. When I open the CO document, the header table is going to be stored in the COPK table and the line item levels are going to be stored in the COEP table. When I open the asset accounting table, the ANEK is the header table and ANEP is the line item level table. So earlier, what is happening? We are going to be calling it as the multi-source table, which we are going to be called as a multi-source. We are going to be calling them as a multi-source table. Now, after you convert your system from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA, now we are going to be calling it as a single source of table. Very, very important, sir. Very, very important to all of you. Earlier, we are going to be calling it as a multiple source of tables. We are going to be calling it as a single source of table. What is a multiple source and what is a single source? Yes. Now all the tables have been eliminated. Now from today onwards, we have only two tables. One is the header table, another one is the line item level table. So this header table, if you are posting the GL or if you're posting the controlling or if you're posting the asset accounting documents or if you're posting the COPA documents or if you're posting the material ledger document, now there is only one header table. That header table, we are going to be calling it as the BKPF table. Yes. If it is a controlling table, it is BKPF. It is a GL table, it is a BKPF. It is the asset accounting transaction, yes, only one table BKPF. Now when I come to the line item level table, now the line item level table is only one table, ACDOCA table. That is going to be called as accounting document actions. Means now from today onwards, we don't have COBK as a header table. We don't have ANEK as a header table over here. Now what is happening? I am making everything as a simplified now. Yes, simplified data model. We can call them as a simplified data model. What is the simplified data model? Simplified data model means I have removed all the index and the aggregate and the header tables and I have simplified all the data into one table. If you want to look out for the GL information, go into the AC DOCA table. If you want to see the controlling information, you can go into the AC DOCA table. If I want to go and look at the asset accounting data, go and look into the AC DOCA table. Now from today onwards, you don't have any index and aggregate tables. Now I simplified your data. The simplification you can directly see in the AC DOCA table, bringing out removing of all the tables and replacing with one table. That table we are going to be calling it as the AC DOCA table. Now, at the time of conversion, very, very important. At the time of conversion, I'm not talking after the conversion and before the conversion, I'm talking. At the time of conversion, there are some adjustments you have to do. Actually, we call them as adjustments. Okay, like corrections at the time of migration, some carry forward of the balances from the current year to the next year. Now today we are opening a new year in US, that is 2019. So we had to start the accounting transactions from 2019 January 1st. 2018 accounting year has been closed. Now whatever the balances, we had to carry forward for the next year. We had to carry forward to the next year. That is for the 2019. We have to show the balances carry forward. So at the time of carry forward of the balances, at the time of changes, whatever the corrections you are making at the time of migration. So these documents will not have the header information. Nowhere. These documents will not have the header information. These documents will have only the line item level information. No header. Header table is not going to be triggered. Only at the few exceptions. That is at the time of migration and at the time of carry forward. No, very, very important. At these two levels, we don't have the header information. Means BKPF table is not going to be triggered. It is not getting updated at the time of balance carry forward or whatever the corrections you are making at the time of migration between the SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA. So at these two levels, only line item level tables are going to be triggered. No header table is going to be triggered. Very, very important. This is the certification question. Is it clear to all of you?
So what happens to the new GL flag, flags A, which is actual line items table, and flags T, which is a total
Now there
table?
is no flaggle flex or flaggle flex decision in SAP S/4HANA. All the aggregations, I've been telling that all the aggregations at the flaggle flex or flaggle flex is going to be happen at the AC DOCA table. I'm coming about that point. So new GL tables are getting replaced now.
Okay.
So these particular, okay, carry forward or something like corrections in the migration. So there should be one document. These documents are going to be called as artificial document numbers, actually only for the reference purpose. No actual document numbers are going to be triggered. Whenever you do the balance carry forward at the year end closing, whenever you do the corrections in the migration, a document will be generated, but this document is going to be called as artificial document number, which is not impacting to your financial statements. Very, very important. Now, table AC DOCA contains all the fields needed for the GL. Very, very important. Don't expect anything. Okay, AC DOCA table will only contains the fields like GL, controlling, asset accounting, material ledger, and profitability analysis. Only these 5 components are getting reconciled. Means all the fields related to the GL, controlling, asset accounting, material ledger, and the COPA. And when you come to the COPA, there are two levels of when you come to the COPA, there are two COPAs. Okay, there are two levels of COPA. One is going to be called as profitability analysis divided. There are two types of profitability analysis COPA. One is going to be called as a costing based COPA. Another one is going to be called as account based COPA. When you go to the COPA, this is what exactly we are going to be calling it, the profitability analysis, controlling profitability analysis. We have there are two levels of COPA. One is the costing based COPA, another one is the account based COPA. Very, very important. Only this account based COPA only reconciled with your ECDOCA table. Costing based COPA is not reconciled with your ECDOCA table. Very, very important. Only whenever you're activating the COPA at the account based level, only that account based COPA reconciliation is going to be happened with your ECDOCA table. Costing based COPA will remain as it is with the old tables only, C1, CO tables only. Very, 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 very important. So when I'm talking as a COPA, don't make sure that COPA is nothing but there are two COPAs. The one is the costing based and account. Both are getting reconciled with your ECDOCA table. No, only one. Account based COPA is completely reconciled with your ECDOCA table, not the costing based COPA. Very, 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 very important. So if I open the table, if I see, if you are posting the GL documents, or if you are posting the controlling documents, or if you are posting the asset related documents, or if you are posting the material related documents, or if I'm posting the COPA related documents related to the account base, all these documents will be going and triggering to the one table from today. That is going to be called as the AC Doka table. As I discussed you, earlier we have different tables. As I discussed you, earlier we have different tables are going to be triggering. Now we don't have the COEP table. Now we don't have the ANEP table. Now we have only one table. That table name we are going to be calling it as a Doka table from today. So in SAP S4HANA, the concept has been very simplified. The simplified data model is called as your universal general entry table from today. And multi-gap capabilities through RLDNR dimensions. What is this RLDNR? RLDNR is nothing but a ledger field. We have different reporting systems. Like we have the local gap. All are reportings. Okay, you have the US gap. We have the IFRS. We have the IFRS reporting like this. If we take a company, we want to have different reportings. We have the local gap, we have the US gap, and we have the IFRS. So what I'm going to do in SAP, I will prepare a separate ledger. Okay, this is going to be called as the OL. This is going to be called as leading ledger. I'll create a non-leading ledger, L1. For this, all the reporting, I'll create a one more ledger for IFRS. Like this, I'll create three ledgers. I'll create three different ledgers. One is the leading ledger, another one is the non-leading ledgers. Because as per my company, okay, so as per my client, they want three reporting systems. One is the local gap, there is a US gap, another one is the IFRS. So how many ledgers you are creating? Three ledgers I'm creating. One is the leading ledger, and remaining two are going to be called as the non-leading ledgers. I'll explain this concept very beautifully when you're talking about the leading ledgers and the non-leading ledgers. Okay, so there are three ledgers are updating whenever any transaction is getting posted. Now there is a complete multi-gap capability to RLR dimension. So if I go into the AC Doka table, okay. Now I'll go to the SC16. Okay. And I'll give the table called as AC Doka table. Now if I go and see the table, AC Doka table, ACDOCA table. I'm just executing. Okay. I'll take one document. Okay. I'll take one document. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. Yeah. I'll take only one document for a meanwhile. Okay, now see here. This is going to be called as the ledger field. You can see here, ledgers. Okay, there are so many ledgers are there. There are so many ledgers. These all are going to be called as the different ledgers in my SAP. We have created different ledgers in my SAP. So any document you are posting, see this is the document number, and this is the line item number. If you see any document is getting posted in my SAP for the Doka table, the ledger field is getting updated automatically. Automatically. Whether you updated for the leading ledger, whether you updated for the non-leading ledger, so what type of ledger has got updated? Okay, what type of ledger has got updated? So there is a multi-dimensional reporting is there. That is what we are going to be calling as multi-gap capabilities through RLDNR dimension. What is this RLDNR? RLDNR, we see this. RLDNR is nothing but a ledger field name. If I go here, if I go and see this, if I put a cursor, if I just press, okay, if I just press F1, if I go to the F1, okay, so this is the ledger. If I click on this technical information, you can see here RLDNR. You can see here, this is the RLDNR. The field name of ledger, the field name, this is the complete AC DOCA table is AC DOCA is the table. In the table, there is a one field called as the ledger. That field name is called as RLDNR. Very, 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 very important. So you can have multi-gap capabilities. What is the multi-gap capabilities? Now this ledger is getting updated with all the gap capabilities like US gap, local gap, IFRS, what reporting, what ledgers get information. So all the ledgers are getting updated here. So this is the beauty of the SAP in SAP S/4HANA. Very, 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 very important. So now if you want to have any reporting system, you can extract directly from the SDOCA table. That is, if you want to see the reporting of IFRS, or if you want to see the reporting of local gap, if you want to see the reporting of US gap, now RLDNR field is getting updated with the multi-gap capability. This is very, 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 very important. So this is the beauty of SAP, where you can have different reporting systems are getting updated and the transactions are getting posted through the ECDOCA table. Next one, 6-digit field for the line item numbering. Yes. Yes. If I take a BSEC table, okay, the BSEC table is getting updated with 999 line items. 999 line items means in one document you can enter up to 999 line items. What do you mean by line items? Debits and credits. Debits and credits. In one single document, I can enter up to 999 line items. This is the maximum number of line items you can enter in one document. But now in AC DOCA table, it has been enhanced to 6 digits, 999, another 999. Very, very important. Means in one single document, which is getting updated to the ECDOCA table, now you can enter up to maximum number of line items. You can enter up to 6 digits, means 9,99,999 documents, line items you can enter in a one single document. It has been enhanced up to 6 digits of the line items. Very, 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 very important. So this is the major change which have been happened now. Okay. So what are the line items? If you see here, if I just go back, if I see one document, for example, if I see the document number 14002, 14002, 14002. Okay. Now there are 3 line items are there. Okay. In one document, one line item is with 001, 005 and 006. Like this, there are 3 line items are there. Only 3 line. But in one single document, if I want to post in one single document after the conversion, I can enter up to 999, 999. Total 6 digits of line items I can enter into one document. Earlier it was restricted only 999 line items. Now it has been enhanced up to 6. That is, it has been enhanced up to 9,99,999 line items I can enter in a single document in the AC DOCA table. Earlier the currency table. Earlier there is a concept called as a currency field. The currency field, if you see the currency field, okay, the currency field is only limited up to 18 characters. Okay, 18 numeric digits. The decimals you can enter only up to 18. Now the currency field has been enhanced up to 23 now. 23 digits for your currency field of architecture of SAP S/4HANA from today onwards. Okay, if I go into the currency, if I select a line item, if I go into the currency, if I enter any currency for any transactions, okay, here this is the currency amount. You can see the currency amount. You can see the currency, okay, like $17,639 have been posted. If I see the currency factor, earlier it was only up to 18 decimals. It was only up to 18 decimals. Now it has been enhanced up to 23 decimals. If you see some countries like Serbia, Syria, like there are some African countries where the inflation rate is very low. Then the decimal, if you are converting the decimals from the Serbian currency with your with our US currency, with the dollar currency, the decimal factors will go up to more than 18. So it has been enhanced up to 23 decimal factors from today. Earlier it was only 18. Now it has been enhanced up to 23 now. Okay, so this is the major impact of ECDOCA table between the previous classic version to the current SAP S/4HANA ACDOCA table. So universal general entry table called as the ECDOCA table with one header table. No other header tables are getting updated. And you have, if you open this header table, what type of information you are going to be storing? GL, controlling, asset accounting, material ledger, and COPA. Very important. Only these 5 components have been reconciled. Only these 5 fields are going to be looked into the ECDOCA table. If I go to the back, this is what exactly. You can see the general ledger information. You can see the profitability analysis fields. You can see the management accounting fields. You can see the asset accounting fields. You can see the ledger fields. Now all these sub-ledger fields are going to be reconciled with one table that is going to be called as ECDOCA table. And ECDOCA table will contain about 6 digits of line item with 23 digits of decimal factors. This is the high level. This is the high level of architecture of SAP S/4HANA with ACDOCA table.
Mahesh, what will happen to the fund management? There are FM related tables,
exactly.
are there?
Okay, there is not only the fund management, we are talking about the treasury and the risk management. We are talking about the FSCM models also, something like that. Yeah, remains as it is only. There is no change in the fund management, no change in the treasury and risk, and no change in the FSCM models.
Okay, they will remain as it is. Okay.
The old table data structure.
Okay. Now, what are the different ways we can use this 6-digit fields for line item numbering?
Sir, for example, I take one example. I think we have been experiencing the many. If there is a billing document is there. Okay, billing from the sales. Actually, I'm talking from the sales. If you take some multinational company like Amazon or something like, okay, if you see the General Motors, okay, they will do with a lot of line items. Okay, there are a lot of sales are going to be happening to one customer. Actually, if I take a one customer, okay. So we are doing the billing to the customer with a lot of products. Okay, means okay more than 1,000 items are going to be billed to a one customer. Okay, from the sales point of view, I don't have any kind of issue. You can do more than 2,000, 3,000, 20,000. You can do the billing to one customer with a different with the different items. But when I come to the billing is nothing but a financial transaction. Actually, billing is nothing but a finance accounting transaction. But when there is a reconciliation, when there is an integration is going to be happened between the SD and between the GL, the GL document, the accounting document is getting triggered here. There is an accounting document. Accounting document will trigger in my GL. So when you do the billing, when in the back end, when accounting document is getting triggered for this particular line item, for this particular different products of the billing items. So SAP, when I go to the accounting document is only accepting up to 999 line items only, not more than this. Not more than this. So what the error will throw? No accounting document was generated. Yes. Billing document is generated, but there is no accounting document is got generated. The accounting document, the invoice document will be open. It will not show the status as a completed. It will show the status as open. Why it is open? If I go and do the analysis, then I came to know that you are posting the billing document, means there are nearly about 1,000 line items are there in the billing. So when you are posting the billing document, when there is an accounting document is getting triggered in the back end, the accounting document will accept only 999 line items only, but it is more than that. So the accounting document generation was failed. Because of this, the billing document is still showing as the open. So I cannot go more than that. Then what should I tell to the customer? What should I tell to the my end user? Hey, do one thing. Don't post all the 1,000 line items in the billing. Split into 300, 300, 300, and post 4 documents so that the accounting document will be created. Why? Because SAP, the BSEC document, the BSEC level table will update only up to 999. So it is restricting us. It is not allowing you to post more than 999 line items. Now, because of these major challenges are there, not only from the billing, from the purchase also. So because of keeping all this in mind, so SAP, what it has done, it has been enhanced up to 999999. So up to, you can post up to 6 digits of line items in the ECDOCA table now. Clear?
Okay. Yep, somewhat. Because it's a header table. It's
We are
a
doing
basic,
the
it's a
practicals,
header
when we are
table,
doing the
so.
practical, we are going to see all these things. Okay?
All right, okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is about the today's session. I hope, okay, I told you I'll take only the limit, but you have taken up to 1 hour class, okay, not to worry. Okay, very happy new year to all of you. So just enjoy with your, okay, so be celebrated with the new year of 2019.
Happy New Year,
Mahesh,
Mahesh.
I have to talk to you after the class. It's okay.
Do one thing, just I'll be busy with next 2 hours with another classes. So I'll ask my support team. I'll ask my support team to conference your call once I'm get free. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, all of you. Have a great day.
Yeah, Mahesh, can you
Bye.
remember? Mahesh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, this is Rajesh here.
Rajesh.
Let me know when you are going to be taking like the overview of that class actually.
Yeah, I'll let you know, sir. Because let you know because how many students have been left out. Okay, I'll just